So to start, our shapes are really, they're just blobs, and you go in afterwards and doodle to create the flower, but you can see how I've started at the top, the doodle, and then it gets down, goes down and down. So I can just lay down the paint in that manner too, right? So I've left some white space in there, so when you go through after, you can, you know, have a little breathing space within, and then we can just add in a little bit of a different color and it'll dry and create that mottled look on your flowers. So, and I just kind of keep pulling from and just keep kind of practicing, and I'm lifting up my brush and then pushing it down so that I get a thin line and then a thick line. The rose, it starts small, press down, press down, press down, right? And this one's going to have some really nice white space in it. This one will be a little more solid, and they're all going to look fine. So this rose, I started from the center, and so she's a little more full. Holding my brush that way there. I like to start with the bottom leaf, and I'm taking the tip here down here and then bending it, because you want a little bit of movement in your leaves, right? Because leaves don't go straight out all the time. So this is sort of I'm blowing in the wind tree. I want him to have a little bit of a tip on the end. My top guy is narrow at the top and wider towards the bottom. Great. So I'm using the UniBall Vision pen. It's waterproof. I like how thick it is. It gives me nice thick lines. I guess I'm not that dainty. They show up well, and after it's dry, it's waterproof. So when I go to add it into my journals, I have better success I don't get any smudging. So this is where the doodling, it's all just freehand, and a trick I learned from Joanne Sharp is do a double line. So in the middle here, and when you're outlining it, you're leaving lots of white space, and so you may hit some of your watercolor, you may not. When you just do one line, it looks okay. It can look kind of messy when you do two lines. Joanne told us it's art. And so there you go, and you have your doodle flower. Now if you want to add some centers, just make some circles, and then you fussy cut this out, and you've got some great collage fodder, some great embellishments. This one turned out kind of cool. I kind of have this center. So how to do the roses. So the roses they start with like a very tiny center, and then you move outwards, and so you can see how I kind of round it, and then I kind of create an angular pattern, I guess, down here, down here, down here. It gets a little more angular. So you can see where I made the center of my rose, and so I'm just gonna go right. And then, okay, that looks okay, but when you add that second line, it just looks much better. So here's one. This one was the center, the rose that has a center to it. So where you're looking straight down. This rose is looking at it from an angle. So the center rose, I've painted in this movement, so it makes it a little easier. And we're just gonna go like that. And you don't, when you're doing that second line, it's not about following on top. It's about creating a drunken line, kind of like drunk walker following the other path, and you get this kind of wonky line. So very simple. So to trace my leaves, I start with the leaf first, and then I'll go back in and draw a stem if I need to. Let's do this one. So once again, it's not about following exactly. And because I've bent, we're going to make sure we bend. I need to put some paper underneath here. Okay. So then, right. And then we do our top branch, and then our middle. Oh, we forgot one. Then we'll cut him out. And when you go to cut these out, you're not, I mean, you can go really close depending on the look you want. But once again, I'm being fairly liberal in my interpretation, I guess, of what a flower is. So I like to leave a bit of a white space. I'll go in here and cut those. And so you end up, you know, cute little flowers. Sharp Tonic Studio. So for the leaves, it's a little bit more of a fussy cut. Follow it in. So when you're cutting, you go into the middle of your blade and then you just follow through on your cut. So it's not about using the end of the scissors. You're not snip, 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 snip. That's how you get a choppy cut. So if you want a nice smooth cut, move into the middle of your blade and then follow the line. And you can see how I am twisting my paper as I cut, right? And you're moving the paper as you cut, not necessarily the scissors. And that's how you get a much smoother cut. There is an art to cutting. I'm not necessarily taught that. Right, smooth. So you can see here when I go snip, 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 there's a greater risk of having less smooth follow through when you're cutting out these flowers. There you go.